This woman ripped off her facial mask in front of her husband. She broke her nose when she pretended to tear the facial mask. To convince her husband that it was real, she put on special effects makeup. When the husband saw his wife's wound, he couldn't comfort her. He just stood there dumbfounded, because he used the mask to give himself a spa treatment. He couldn't imagine what would happen if he took off the mask. This guy was worried the motorbike might suddenly take off into the air, so instead of risking it, he asked his dad to take it for a test ride first. Turns out the whole idea came from his dad, who clearly takes safety very seriously. He strapped on a seatbelt and attached a massive parachute to the back of the bike just in case it flies too high. But here's the twist. This bike won't lift off until you smash the like button. The boy is taking a test, but he doesn't know how to draw this picture. He had an idea. 2 pencils on each end of a ruler. The boy copied them from the ready-made, so that he could draw the outline of the figure on his exam paper. The boy would soon finish his exam, although the boy was very clever. But the teacher caught him, because the teacher was the one who recorded the video. Grandma wanted to get something from the beam, but she accidentally knocked down the ladder. Grandma grabbed the beam with all her might. Because her family had gone to work, she could only call out to her grandson. The little grandson rushed to help Grandma pull the ladder up, but he couldn't lift the ladder with his small body. He tried again and again. If Grandma falls down, he couldn't imagine the consequences. Finally, the little grandson pulled up the ladder, which was several times heavier than he was, with strong faith. Grandma was saved. So give this brave grandson a like too. This grandfather is 90 years old, but he's performing street acrobatics. Grandpa's son died in a car accident. His wife has leukemia. Grandpa has given all his savings to his wife's treatment, but he's still $300,000 short of the cost of the operation, so Grandpa had to go out on the street to perform. Grandpa lifted the bike up with a trembling hand, then he puts the bike up on his face. So send a like to this grandpa. Encourage this grandpa. The boy put some nuts on the chicken. When the chicken ate the nuts from the boy's mom's hand, the boy's mom kept guiding the chicken with her hand. There were still nuts on its body. I didn't realize that the next second, the chicken twisted its neck 180 degrees to eat the nuts. This might be the fastest energy-draining laptop in the world. First he cuts off its power source to test it, and starts watching its battery percentage within seconds. The battery begins to drop, and suddenly the screen turns off. When he presses the power button, it's clear that the battery is completely drained. Do you think this computer can challenge the Guinness Book of World Records? This boy took a retractable toy sword. When he stabbed one of the family dogs, the dog immediately fell to the ground. When the boy stabbed another dog with his sword, the dog did not react. The boy stabbed again, impatiently, but the dog still didn't react and looked at the boy stupidly. The boy threatened the dog. If he didn't lie down, he wouldn't eat. The boy stabbed the dog again. For the sake of food, the dog also cooperated and lay down. This girl was giving her dog a bath, but she realized her dog wasn't moving. The girl anxiously patted the dog, but the dog still doesn't react. The girl is worried that the dog is dead. She patted the dog even harder. Finally the dog woke up. It was asleep. When these siblings were creating a funny TikTok, they made a huge mistake, because when they pushed their baby cousin out of the frame, viewers started commenting about why she wasn't included in the TikTok. But something unexpected happened. They made a video before this showing something. When this grandfather saw his granddaughter wearing a loose sweater that intentionally exposed her shoulder, his caring nature typical of the older generation couldn't help but react. He tried to adjust her sweater to cover her shoulder again. However, every time he pulled the sweater off, the girl casually pulled it back down, signaling that this was her style. The back and forth tugging happened several times, until the grandfather, running out of patience, gave her shoulder a gentle tap, a meaningful warning. Though the girl was initially reluctant, she eventually gave in and left the sweater covering her shoulder, realizing that her grandfather's concern was a priceless expression of love. When you visit China, make sure to go to this restaurant, because instead of serving you food in the usual way, they offer you a book that looks like something straight out of Harry Potter's magic world. They give you this book, so they can surprise you by setting it on fire, and inside that book is the dish you ordered. Look, the man asks the woman what the most expensive item in the store is. The woman looks at her cell phone. The man tells the woman he's in the fraud prevention business, and he can show her how scammers do it. Then the man took the woman's cell phone. He showed her how the crooks escape when they get what they want. Then the man didn't come back. 5 minutes later, the woman realized she had been scammed. This girl bathed in the coldest water in Russia. Even after bathing in such cold water, she doesn't feel cold, rather she feels warm. She feels so hot that even after a storm she does not come out of this icy water. Earlier this girl used to bathe in this ice water just for fun, but now this girl walks around in the snow like this. When she gets hungry she eats ice like this. Even after eating so much ice, this girl doesn't fall sick. Let's give her a like too. This guy got caught on camera messing around with the dough. He didn't know they added cameras in the kitchen, and he was playing with the dough without his gloves. But then he threw some oil on the table, and started pushing the dough with his bare hands. But why did he do this? To simply make the dough softer, so he can roll it like a blanket. But after stretching it, he cut the edge and made a ton of burritos. This boy hammered on his golden retriever's food bowl in front of him. The golden retriever rushes over but the food bowl is already broken. He was furious. The golden retriever kept barking at the boy. Then the golden retriever ran into the kitchen to get back at the boy. The golden retriever broke the boy's bowl as well. Do you think the golden retriever did the right thing?
This genius worker became hated by all builders, and why exactly you are about to find out. And the whole point is that this man posted a video in which he shows how he carefully and accurately installs all the wiring in the house. But they hate him because of the other. And initially the man made a necessary depression in the wall, in which he then made a special tube through which the necessary wires will pass, and hate his builders because of the fact that now after his video, all customers want to make the wiring in their house to do the same neatly and beautifully. Support the cool master by liking and subscribing.
The plane had just taken off. The crew noticed that the landing gear in front of the plane was completely jammed. The landing gear was deflected 90 degrees. It was perpendicular to the fuselage. The captain then decided to make an emergency landing. But if the plane is forced to land, the plane would have lost control of the aircraft, resulting in a fatal crash. At the same time, this airplane does not have the function of air fuel release. So the captain first raised the altitude of the plane and circled for more than 2 hours in order to burn fuel and reduce weight. The funny thing is, the passengers on the plane are watching the full media coverage on the TVs in front of their seats. Many experts were analyzing how the plane might have crashed. The television signal was not cut off until 5 minutes before the plane was due to land. The captain, with his years of flying experience, he landed the rear wheels first. The front wheels were in the air. He waited until the plane slowed down enough to hold the front wheels, and then landed the front wheels. But the friction created a lot of smoke and sparks. Luckily, the plane came to a safe stop. All 146 people on board were safe and no one was hurt. This Chinese man can split cobblestones with his bare hands. He grew up learning martial arts. Splitting cobblestones with his hands was a basic skill he practiced as a child. You won't believe it. He's already 60 years old. He can still easily split pebbles with his hands. Is it true that Chinese people learn kung fu at an early age? This girl stole a pregnant woman's purse, but if you knew what she was going to do next, you'd cry. This girl slipped $500 into the pregnant woman's purse. The girl wanted to give the pregnant woman a little surprise, because she's a woman too. She understands how hard it is for a girl to become a mom, so she wanted to do her little bit to make the mom happy. The girl kept following the pregnant woman. Finally, she found the right moment. The girl put her purse in the pregnant woman's bag. This girl often had her phone stolen, so she made an anti-theft phone case. The iron ball attached to the phone case weighed 100 Gene. Her friends questioned whether she could still lift it herself. The girl showed her friends her arm strength, but she failed, and the phone fell down with the iron ball. However, when they looked down, they found that the phone had shattered into pieces, so they quickly ran down to check the situation. They thought the phone was beyond repair, but when the girl said, "Hey, Siri," Siri started talking. How was that possible? This man put $1,000 on the table. He wants to arm wrestle his wife. Whoever wins the $1,000 will get it. If you think the man will win the arm wrestling, you're wrong, because his wife has a trick up her sleeve. When they started arm wrestling, his wife unzipped her shirt. The man's will was broken. In the end, his wife won the match. Have you ever seen a cake made this way? First the girl drills holes in the bottom of the chocolate sauce, then she hangs it on a string. The girl gives the chocolate sauce a force. The chocolate sauce begins to move in an elliptical path, spreading the sauce over the cake. When the force given by the girl to the chocolate sauce is consumed, an artistic cake is completed. These geniuses were tired of their inflatable boats being damaged all the time and not reliable at all. So they bought such an unusual but very durable boat with a few features that you will learn about next. And initially, this boat consists of just 3 parts which are perfectly folded into each other for easy transportation. But the assembly of the whole boat is actually even much easier. After all, now you just need to put the 3 parts side by side and connect them together with special bolts. And another feature of this boat is its price, which you'll find out a little further on. But now they install in the boat a small motor with a price of only $300. And the final price of the whole boat with the motor is only $900. Give a like if you'd like a boat like this. Did you know many Chinese restaurants no longer have chefs? They've invented an automatic stir-fry machine. All you need to do is prepare the ingredients as instructed. Toss them into a heated, rapidly rotating cylinder. And after a quick stir-fry, your dish is ready with the right ingredients. Making Turkish or Italian dishes is no problem. But here's the real question: would it actually taste good? A lot of people think babies will sink right away if you put them in water. But actually newborns have 2 cool reflexes that help keep them from drowning. The diving reflex and the swimming reflex. These reflexes make them automatically hold their breath and move their bodies when they're in water. But they only last until the baby is around 4 to 6 months old, and then they fade as the baby grows. When they dressed up as Phineas and Ferb, everyone thought the costumes looked pretty good, but there was a reason they only wanted to be seen from the side. Because the moment you look Phineas straight in the face, there's something about the costume that just doesn't feel right. When people in China build their houses, they don't use bricks. Instead, they collect glass bottles and use them to construct their homes. They also use cement in between to stick the bottles together. Once the house is completed, it looks very beautiful. In fact, they build houses with glass, because it helps keep the interior cool even during hot weather. The narrowest street in the world. This mom just made the best birthday cake you will ever see. She actually spent more than 15 hours to make this special cake using a very secret ingredient. But the moment she had to take the cake out and cut it, it stuck to the touching utensil. In the end, this mom was very careful and finally she managed to get the cake out. Let's make a smile with our likes. This guy was tired of riding a bike, because he had to use his legs, and he was tired from riding it to work, and getting groceries every single day. So he got an idea on how to improve his bike, and now all he has to do is move his body up and down to keep going. But even after spending years on his invention, he only received 10 likes. This boy drops shampoo on a passerby's head, but the passerby thought a bird had pooped on his head. He was very upset. The boy pretended to pass by. The passerby wanted to wash his head with the water in his hand, but the more the passerby washed his head, the more bubbles he got. He felt very strange. He didn't know why bird poop foamed. This guy puts a total of 2,000 rubber bands on his lips. After a full 10 hours, when he starts to remove them, his lips turn into the shape of a bird's beak. And how it looks after removing the rubber bands is even more shocking. Because as he continues to remove the rubber bands one by one, 2 hours have already passed and still he isn't able to remove all of them. This man has had no legs since childhood. After he finished cooking, he became anxious because he had no way to get down. He kept adjusting his position and gathered his courage. Finally, he managed to get down. But then, he faced another challenge: how to carry the food to the dining table. Something that ordinary people can do easily was incredibly difficult for him. Let's give a like to this strong man. This girl visited Walmart to buy a plunger, but she remembered that her mom told her to test it before buying. So, she picked one up and tested it right there on the floor, not realizing that every single customer had also tested the plungers on that exact same spot. When the girl came home, she found the house in a state of disarray. She thought the house had been burglarized, but when she saw the bite marks on the belongings, she knew it must be the family border collie tearing up the house again. The girl was furious, but her dog kept fawning over the girl. Do you think the girl will teach her dog a lesson? This mad woman puts the cap inside the bottle, and challenges Will Smith's husband that, if he can take the cap out, she will reward his with S15000. At first he becomes a little nervous, but then it accepts the challenge. Then this man takes out his handkerchief and after putting it inside the bottle, he blows the air inside it. And then as it pulls the lead out, it comes right out. What do you think flows out of the holes of this bucket? This is how the grape juice is squeezed out. Some people who make wine use a special device for squeezing the juice. The container is completely filled with grapes, after which the grapes are covered with boards. With the help of a jack, the boards begin to squeeze, thereby squeezing out the juice. As soon as the girl blew out the candle on her cake in honor of her 16th birthday, her grandfather immediately grabbed the number 6 and placed it on his own cake. After all, in just a few seconds, his 60th birthday was about to begin. The whole family eagerly watched the clock, and exactly at midnight, the grandfather blew out the candles, clapping his hands joyfully. Have you ever seen someone poking a needle over and over again like this? It's actually part of a special training called the flying needle technique. In this method, the goal is to hit a tiny hole with perfect accuracy. Once someone becomes skilled at it, they can insert a needle into a person's hand to draw blood, so smoothly that the patient barely feels a thing, and doesn't even realize when the needle goes in or comes out. This grandfather has never changed his profession, and the thing is that since he was 5 years old, he started to help his mother create paper in the old traditional way, and now in his 76 years, he also creates paper the old way where, first you have to make cellulose water in which you then dip a bamboo sheet, and you get paper which is left to dry. Give a like to Grandpa for his years of hard work.
In China, anyone who wants to drive a 3-wheeled motorcycle must pass this test to get their license. They have to ride with one wheel on a narrow raised obstacle. That's because 3-wheeled motorcycles are harder to control than regular ones, so this test ensures they have the skills to handle it.
This pumpkin grew while being trapped inside a mask, and the result is truly creepy. The pumpkin is covered with only a few holes left to allow it to breathe. The man has an entire farm filled with such pumpkins. Once the pumpkin is fully grown, the mask is removed, revealing a real-life Frankenstein creation. This lady scammed this cafe in broad daylight, because they told her she'd get her coffee at the pickup counter, but it was closed and no one was around. She even tried messing up the fabric inside the counter, but someone behind it stopped her. Then out of nowhere, a cute furry hand popped out with her coffee. It started playfully messing with her to make up for the inconvenience, but in the end, she got her coffee and walked away without paying. When the barber lifts this man's cap, he sees that there's no hair on his head at all, but he thinks maybe his eyes are deceiving him, so he lifts the cap again, but once again, he sees only a bald head. The barber realizes that this man must be playing a prank on him, so in return, the barber puts on binoculars, and pretends to cut the man's hair, making the man fall victim to his own prank.
This girl is becoming a millionaire by saving thousands of dollars of other people, because this girl has made a machine, which can save your gas bill to a great extent. You can keep any utensil on this homemade gas, and cook your food comfortably. And this homemade gas is also quite cheap, which will be available within your budget. But she just wants a sweet comment from us. This man had the sweetest idea in the world. When his family was building their new house, a worker gave them a chance to write something on the wet concrete, so they could remember this moment. First the parents made handprints, then it was the children's turn. But one last thing made it even more special. They also wrote the year it happened, so they could always see and remember this beautiful moment forever.
Today was her first day on the job, and they just gave her 2 glowing sticks and sent her to the middle of the runway. She was clueless about what was going to happen next until she saw a massive plane approaching from far away. She got terrified and tried to run, but then realized she could lose her job. So she started swinging the sticks just like she was taught during practice. She was doing really well until the plane came really close, and that's when she had to make the cross gesture, which means please stop. He was tired of his lawnmower crashing into that annoying utility box, so he finally took matters into his own hands. He started by cutting the grass into 4 perfect squares, carefully placing them on a plastic sheet to keep them intact. Then he dug out the entire box and cleared the soil underneath. Once repositioned, he set the box slightly below grass level, filled the area back up, and reinstalled the grass like fitting puzzle pieces. To finish it off, he added a subtle cover and painted it to blend in. Now it looks spotless and even his neighbors want the same fix. This is the boy's birthday present for his girlfriend, because the boy was poor, so the boy made a water cup for the girl out of rebar. He hoped his girlfriend could drink more water, and 2 LV bags, not only for defense, but also for storage, and finally a pair of crystal shoes. The boy hoped that the girl could always be his fairy tale princess. May the boy and his girlfriend have a long life together. The girl took advantage of her sister's absence. She and her friends took out her sister's bed and brought in an indoor pool, filled the pool with water and covered it with sheets and disguised it as a bed. Because today is her sister's birthday, she wanted to give her a surprise. Not long after, she came back. She sat on the bed without any defense. Sister's plan worked. This girl wanted to know if her dad was asleep, so she decided to use a tool to see if her dad's eyes were open. When the girl used the tool to open her dad's eyelids, she was shocked. She thought her dad wasn't sleeping, because he was looking at her with one eye open. When this hole in the road had not been fixed for 2 years, this young couple decided to take matters into their own hands, because it was no longer possible to wait for the authorities to repair it, so they initially cleaned the hole, and then used special asphalt in a bag which tamped with their own car. But the internet believes that they did so in vain, because the officials will earn on their act. Support these guys by liking and subscribing. Look, you may think this dog is very lazy. He lies on the floor when he eats, but I think he's the hardest working dog. The dog keeps licking the meat in the bowl. Because he's lying down, he can't eat it. So what he could have eaten by standing up and licking it once, he needed to lick it 10 or even 100 times. A kind girl gave 2 buns to the mother dog. She wanted to take them all at once to her children, but her mouth is too small. When she picks up one bun in her mouth, the other one falls out. She tries to fit 2 buns in her mouth at once, but it fails. She only prays that the girl will watch the buns for her. She takes 1 bun back to the baby and then comes back for the second. But everyone thinks this mama dog isn't smart.
This girl was at the airport when they told her that if she could fit her bag in this tiny compartment, she would win $300 and could carry the bag as her handbag. So she was ready and tried her best to fit it inside, but it was just a little bit too big. Still, she managed to squeeze it in. But now the most difficult part was to pull it out. She had to lift her dress, step onto it, and go all in just to pull it out and win her $300.
This man blew a big bubble in his sleep the next second, and he sucked the air from the bubble into his stomach, because the man snored in his sleep. His wife was 8 months pregnant. In order to prevent his snoring from disturbing his wife, he came up with this idea. He put tape on his mouth. Send a like to this good husband. The kitten wanted to eat the sticky rice paper. The boy painstakingly tore off the sticky rice paper left on the pot from steaming rice and fed it to him. This is the kitten's favorite snack. In order to let the kitten have enough, he would make glutinous rice paper for the kitten every day. While the boy was still pulling out the sticky rice paper, the kitten couldn't wait any longer. Do you know why kittens like to eat sticky rice paper? Every time the girl comes home, the dog she's had for 4 years doesn't recognize her. The dog would first recognize the girl visually. Scent recognition, facial recognition. He even turns his head to make sure she's home. After integrating the information, the dog gets excited to welcome the girl home. The dog hides his embarrassment. He shakes the girl's hand. This mom served a plate of food, but it's gone in less than 3 seconds. The puppy didn't get anything, so the mom serves another plate of chicken thighs. Again, in less than 3 seconds, the food was gone. The puppy is angry, because he didn't get anything. By the time mom served the last dish, before the plate was even put on the table, the dog ate everything on the plate. This mom served a plate of food, but it's gone in less than 3 seconds. The puppy didn't get anything, so the mom serves another plate of chicken thighs. Again, in less than 3 seconds, the food was gone. The puppy is angry, because he didn't get anything. By the time mom served the last dish, before the plate was even put on the table, the dog ate everything on the plate. This dog is a big eater. He can eat 80 buns in one meal. For the sake of the dog's health, he started feeding the dog only 1 meal a day. But the dog didn't lose its appetite. His appetite got bigger, and he got stronger and stronger, and the owner couldn't afford to feed him anymore. As soon as this guy jumped in the water, the dolphins rushed to him and turned him into an Aquaman. And this is because he's known as the king of dolphins. He grew up with them since he was a kid, and even taught them how to do a perfect backflip with him in the air. and when people saw it, everyone gave them a like. If you think that this crocodile is dead, that's why its dead body is floating in the water, then you are wrong, because this crocodile is intentionally pretending to be dead, and it's doing this because, whenever crocodiles need to hunt humans, they pretend to be dead like this, then whenever a human comes to take them out of the water, they pounce on it and hunt it. These three boys noticed an open drain with some trash lying nearby. The first boy picked up a rock and tossed it into the drain, then walked away. The second boy laughed, picked up a stick, and threw it in too. But the third boy, who had been quietly observing, stepped forward, not to throw something, but to lift the trash out and close the drain lid. If he did the right thing, give him a like. If you see bubbles like these on a car, never make the mistake of popping them, otherwise it can cause damage worth hundreds of thousands. These kinds of bubbles form on cars that have been wrapped or had PPF applied. These bubbles are created due to excessive heat, and if not popped they can also be repaired. Putting shoes on a dog. He won't walk. Do you know why? A dog's feet are full of nerves. If a dog wears shoes, his feet can't sense the ground. They think they're stepping on something. The dog will try to regulate its own balance. Walking is so wobbly that the dog doesn't know how to take a second step. That's why dog owners should never put shoes on their dogs.
This guy has talent that he can finish an entire bottle in one go, even in just seconds. Well known by the name of Sparkling Jup. He has a unique style of opening the bottle and drinking it, which is quite satisfying to watch. Give him any drink and he'll finish it in a single go, even a 1.5-liter bottle which he downs effortlessly in just a few seconds. That's why let's give him one like.
This man has truly come to Earth from another planet, because look how this guy is eating raw ice like a carrot. This guy believes that if we want to live for 200 years, then we should eat this ice instead of food. And in their place, if we people even touch the snow, it will stick there like a magnet, and then we will have to pour water on tongue. But he just wants a lovely comment from us.
This girl was feeling really hot, so she opened the store fridge, grabbed a regular-looking ice cream, and started eating it right there, thinking she'll pay later. She noticed that she had never tasted any ice cream this good, so she flipped the wrapper to check the brand, but accidentally saw the price, and it was $49, because it was an imported ice.
This dog farts a lot every day. He stinks up the house, so the owner had to come up with a clever solution. He channeled it but threw a tube into a bag. But despite that, the dog was farting so much that the bag ended up floating, as if it were filled with helium, and even after all that, the dog only received 2 likes. This woman is putting on so much gel that her hair is hard as a rock. That's because in the military, women have to keep their hair perfectly in place, not a single strand out, so it doesn't interfere with the uniform or equipment. That's why they load up on gel, mix it with a bit of water, and even scoop the excess back into the jar to make it last. The result looks flawless, but at the end of the day, it's a real struggle to get all of it out. This is a Japanese street acrobatic show. A layer of gasoline is applied to the knife, and then you light it on fire. This is a fire knife. When the performer wields the fire knife, the light of the blade is so dazzling and colorful that it's amazing, but the performer must hold on to the handle, or else the knife will fly off, just like him. When this boy brings home a tiny fish to raise, every morning he holds it in his hands to see how much it has grown. At first the fish grew very slowly and 16 days passed like that, but after the 46th day, the fish started growing rapidly. Every day showed a new change. After 128 days, the fish became so beautiful that everyone watching started liking, but in the end the boy sold it.
This is why stall owners can easily cheat you out of your money. In this spinning rod game, you only get the prize if you can lower your ring all the way down without touching the rod. But when people come to play, they get totally confused when their ring keeps getting stuck in the same spot every time. That's because the rod keeps spinning. You have to drop the ring faster than it spins, which is nearly impossible.
As soon as the fire broke out, these free fighters rushed to the scene. When they got there, it looked so small they thought it was a prank call. Still, they pulled out the hose and sprayed water like it cost $1,000 per liter. Just a little. Everyone was confused until they realized the fire was on an electric wire. One wrong move and too much water could have gotten them electrocuted. This girl has incredible talent, because she uses her tongue to make this rope bracelet. Such skills are rarely seen in people. Once she picks up speed, it appears as if her tongue is working like a machine. In China, the rope bracelet has a very good symbolism. After a child is born, a red rope bracelet is tied around the ankle to wish for the child's health. When couples get married, a red rope bracelet is tied to their ankles to make their love last forever. That's why a girl can earn $1 million a month by making rope bracelets. This is why you should never betray someone who trusts you, cause this girl is obsessed with eating carrots, and she turned it into a talent. She crafts every single carrot she finds in her way only using her teeth. She can turn a carrot into a full-faced pirate mask, or she even makes actual working children toys. But when she was making her next idea, her boyfriend took her carrot pistol and aimed at her, so she had to get the big guns. The boy put a box over the passerby who was playing with his cell phone. Then the man pulled out a stick and sunglasses. He disguised himself as a blind man and sat on a bench. When the passerby struggled out of the box, he took out a hammer from behind his back. He wanted revenge. He came to the man, but he believed the boy was blind, so he thought it was the 2 photographed girls who bullied him. So he knocked out the girls' latest iPhones with a hammer. This girl pours sand on her hands, then she spreads it evenly on the car. If this 5-dot marking appears on the car, you must be careful. If you don't pay attention, you could lose your life. when we open the trunk. Lift the side cover and there's a small black box inside. This little black box is actually a locator. Use this method to check your car too. Grandma is lifting up her clothes layer by layer because her son called her. Grandma is trying to get her cell phone out of her pocket. Then she pulls out a red plastic bag from her pocket. Out of the red plastic bag comes a white plastic bag. Out of the white plastic bag came a red plastic bag. Inside was a sock wrapped in toilet paper. Grandma struggled to get the contents out of the sock. Finally, Grandma got her cell phone. So give this lovely grandma a like too. It was this guy's first day at the pizzeria, and the boss asked him to put the pizza in the oven. But he didn't have the skill to place it on the paddle. So the boss showed him how it was done, but the rookie took the advice literally, and didn't understand how holding the boxes would help him grab the pizza. But strangely enough, he succeeded. The boy was playing with his cell phone, but his friend approached him slowly in a ventilation duct. When his friend is ready, he steals the boy's hat. When the boy got up, his friend was already hiding in the duct. The boy was surprised. He didn't know who had taken his hat. All he could do was look around. The boy grew impatient, but he just didn't suspect the ventilation duct that didn't fit in with the surroundings. This girl pulled up to the burger joint and found out she could win a free one, but only if she beat the waitress in a game using just a straw in her lungs. Sounds simple, but this sneaky little fish wasn't about to play fair, and ended up giving her the win anyway, landing her that burger without even earning. Look, in this game, whenever a player is not standing on a safe grid, then he will fall into the lava below, but after resetting the game, the player will fall from the ceiling again. In fact, this game mixes real life and virtual scenarios. The virtual scene is not realized by a helmet, but by displaying all the virtual images on a big screen. The virtual scene recognizes each player individually. Scoring is done by adding 1 point for a successful challenge. Those who fail and fall into the lava will not lose points. They keep their original score. Do you want to play this game? In China, when people build a new bathroom, they throw a lot of small balls on the bathroom floor to check. If all the glass balls roll and stop at the place where the drain pipe is supposed to be, then all things are perfect. But if any balls stop somewhere else, they break the whole bathroom and rebuild it properly. If you know this amazing technique, press the like button. This man made a big mistake when he started doing pull-ups by grabbing the ceiling right in front of the homeowner. He thought maybe if the owner saw how strong the ceiling was, he might offer some extra money. But the moment he came down, he realized the ceiling had been completely damaged. Now to fix his mistake, he's trying to repair it using this hot air machine, and luckily it gets brand new. This man had been saving since the year 2020, but every time he put his money under the mattress, he ended up taking it back when he needed to avoid this. He decided to make a piggy bank that was difficult to open. After years of filling it, he finally opened it, and was surprised to see the large amount of money he had saved. But he only got 2 likes. This guy dreamed of putting a huge aquarium for fish in his yard, but when he found out the prices, he was very surprised. So he decided to make it with his own hands, and initially built a case of bricks, and then used a special material which is initially liquid, and then after an hour turns into a strong rubber, and glued to the bricks forever. And now he runs the fish in the aquarium. Give the guy a like for the cool idea. This guy made a big mistake, because when he went to knock on the door of the gang members, he quickly ran away. But when they got out of the room, they started pointing at the guy. But when he came close to them, he knocked on the door on the other side where the other gang members stayed. So when they left their room, he came close to them again and knocked on the door as he had done before. But then the gang members went straight out to attack the other gang. This boy has a very difficult challenge. They will place a chicken breast on his go-kart, and he needs to cook it before he reaches the finish line. And as soon as they tied it to his cart, the kid launched at full speed to ensure that the meat will be fully cooked with the heat produced in the process. And when he reached the destination, the coach tasted it, and he liked it so much. And still you haven't liked. This boy was playing whack-a-mole with a dog using a ham hock. After the dog tried several times, it couldn't get the ham, so it came up with a clever idea. It started to tear at the box. He tried to connect all the little holes in the box into one big hole, so the boy couldn't tease him with the ham. But the boy said the dog was breaking the rules. The puppy still didn't get to eat the ham. Send a like to the poor little dog. This man suddenly noticed a mysterious creature that seemed to glide just beneath the sand. Curious, he immediately jumped out of his car and began to search. After a bit of digging, he discovered a tiny creature known as a skink or sandfish. This astonishing being looks like a fish, except it doesn't swim in water but in sand. But you still haven't liked it. During a storm in Thailand, this employee stood firmly at the entrance holding up 2 glass doors while the wind raged behind him. The reason he was doing this wasn't just to look dramatic. He was actually preventing the glass doors from shattering due to the intense wind pressure. Do you remember the boy who put slime on his hair? He's back and the situation is worse than we expected. After he sees a video of a girl using colorful slime to dye her hair, he thinks he will end up with a trendy new hairstyle. He scoops up the slime and covers his entire hair as if it's salon cream. Till now everything seems fine, until his genius trick goes totally wrong. He grabs a greasy kitchen towel stained with sauce and wraps it around his hair, thinking that would activate the slime. He leaves it there for hours. When he tries to remove it, panic starts. His hair is stiff and sticky. It looks like a weird mixture of glue and chewed gum. He tries washing it with shampoo water and even kitchen cleaner, but the mess just grows. That's when he finds that the tutorial says to use hot water, but of course he hasn't watched till the end. The result: after nearly 2 hours trying to save his hair, there is no solution. He calls his dad. They bring out the machine, and that's how this new hairstyle was born. This man's friend told him that if he could jump to the other side of the river, he would get a brand new iPhone. Wanting to get the iPhone, the man started warming up by the river and gathered his courage to jump across. However, since he was wearing slippers and the friction against the wall was too low, he slipped, and his slippers were washed away by the river. But in the end, he got a brand new iPhone. You may never need to turn off the tap again, at least, not until the tank is full. When the man connected the tool to the tap, everything seemed normal at first, but when he scooped out some water with a dipper, the tap automatically turned on again. Until the water level submerges the tools, the faucet will automatically shut off. This girl hands her phone to her boyfriend, and gets on the roller coaster first waiting for him, but when he comes back, he accidentally sits next to a different woman without realizing it, until it's too late, because the seatbelt is already locked. His girlfriend gets mad, and decides to give him a taste of his own medicine, by sitting next to a random guy too. This guy decided to prank his coworker, by throwing a hammer into freshly poured cement, just as his colleague was smoothing the surface. But imagine his surprise when he realized what happened to his hammer. Now the prankster will have to buy himself a brand new tool. Everyone laughed at this man and bullied him, because he was overweight. His wife cheated on him, and told him that he will never be able to lose weight. But he kept going to the gym every single day, and worked really hard to prove everyone wrong. You won't believe how incredible he looks now. I will show you the video. But first, if you love your mom, like and subscribe. If you don't like and subscribe, it means you hate your mom. Put a heart in the comments for your mom. This is what the boy looks like now. Whenever this dog goes to the fishing market, he brings an empty bucket with him. Then he goes to the seller and asks him for one fish. And every time the seller sees him, he thinks that the dog might be hungry. So he gives him a small fish. And as soon as he places it in the bucket, the dog leaves the market and walks to this lake away from everyone, where he releases it back to the ocean. And this is why he deserves a like from you. This guy saved the cameraman's life after telling him to move out of the way, because he had a feeling that the piece of metal was under extreme pressure from the heat, storing so much energy that it could snap at any moment. And seconds later, it happened. But no one likes the video. This soldier wanted to keep his little daughter close to him always, so he decided to get a tattoo of her tiny footprints. He wanted her to feel proud every time she saw it. As the tattoo artist worked, he felt a bit of pain, but his face showed nothing but happiness. To him, this wasn't just a tattoo. It was a symbol of his love for his daughter. No matter what happened, even if he had to risk his life for his country, this mark would stay with him forever. And when the tattoo was finally done, the result was truly heartwarming. When this guy caught a baseball, he carefully tore off the leather shell, removed the cotton filling inside, and was left holding just the sturdy leather. Then with precision like a jeweler, he cut a corner of the ball, and fitted it to his mom's heels. He stitched the pieces together, secured the upper part, and soon his mom was strutting around the stadium in exclusive, baseball-themed heels. This kitten made a trap. He opened the cupboard door slightly and told his friend that there was something good in the cupboard. The friend was half believing him, but in the end, he believed him and went into the cupboard. The kitten waited until his friend was fully inside. He closed the door. At last he could enjoy his master's cupcakes alone. This guy is scared because he climbed a volcano, but it's about to erupt. So he takes a photo with his friend before going down. But as they were about to descend, suddenly the volcano was about to erupt. Luckily none of them were hurt. Send a like to this lucky man. This collie is only 2 months old. He took advantage of his mom's absence. He tried to look like his mom to herd the sheep, but after a few more attempts, the sheep wouldn't listen to him. They even attacked him. Little collie is aggrieved. Send a like to this adorable sheepdog. This truck driver found himself in a nerve-wracking situation, with no one around to help. But what he does next will leave you speechless, balancing on the edge of danger. He climbs into the precariously positioned truck, and starts driving it forward. At first it looks like disaster is inevitable, but with incredible skill and precision, he manages to steer the truck to safety. Unbelievable. So give this skilled trucker a like. This kid made the biggest mistake of his life after eating at his dad's restaurant, because when he got the bill, he thought he could put down an Uno reverse card and get his meal completely free. But little did he know that his dad came prepared, because when he sat down at the table, he pulled out 2 of his own Uno reverse cards, and then a wild card. That revealed a lifelong family secret. As soon as this guy pressed this button on the bench, some strange things start coming out of it, which actually was a steering wheel. But then more buttons come out from it and transforms into tires. But not only that, they then start to transform into a whole BMW car. But as soon as everyone found out that it was just a 3D model, everyone started liking it. This is how they replace broken pipes in China. Instead of cutting water supply to the entire city, they use a special cover around the pipe, and then pour liquid nitrogen, which freezes the water inside the pipe, creating a solid ice block that stops the flow. Once the water is frozen and held in place, the workers can safely cut and repair the pipe. This must be the most desperate thing ever. This man farted in the doll's exhaust port, because the doll is airtight. So the man in the doll absorbed the fart, and he felt a terrible stench, because he's wearing a doll suit. So he's struggling a lot. Chinese people are geniuses, because in ancient times when there was no electricity, they invented candles, where they would put a little rice in a glass, pour some water over it, then add oil on top. After the glass was completely filled, they would wrap a piece of cotton around a stick, place it in the glass, and light it. This would light up the entire village. This guy was folding his girlfriend's clothes when he saw something really odd. At first he thought it was just a regular top, but when he looked more closely, he realized there was nowhere to put your head. It had space for both your arms, but he'd never seen anything like this before. He even tried different ways to wear it, but nothing seemed to work. He was about to throw it in the trash, but that's when his girlfriend told him what it was really for, and with his girlfriend's guidance, the guy finally wore it. The man figured it out and realized it was called a shrug vest. Look at this man's talent and you will be amazed. This man can cut anything into two pieces using playing cards. For example, here he cuts a Coca-Cola bottle into two halves. Not only that, but his aim is so precise that he can hit any target from a distance using playing cards. Despite this incredible skill, this man has only received 2 likes. This guy found out where the cycling race would happen, and saw a way to make money. He set up a cardboard sign by the track that said bottles, and sure enough athletes started tossing theirs in. Pro cyclists usually ditch their bottles mid-race, so instead of littering the road they aimed for his box. The result, a cleaner course and about €3 earned per bottle. This is how stairs in a train station are clean. A massive bucket of soapy water is dropped from the very top of the staircase, and as it flows down, every single step gets covered in the process, cleaning up the dirt from thousands of people walking over it each day. LT looks like a mini waterfall rushing down the stairs, and once the water reaches the bottom, 2 guys are there to catch. This guy wasn't allowed on a roller coaster because he's over 2 m tall. He visited Disneyland in Tokyo and was shocked to find out there were height restrictions, but he didn't give up. He insisted he was only 195 centimeters tall. In the end, he shifted to the left, took off his sneakers, and managed to get through. The man was too sleepy. He fell asleep standing on the subway, but his wig accidentally fell off his head. Suddenly the man felt a chill on his head. He realized that his wig had fallen on the floor. In an instant, he wasn't sleepy anymore. He just wanted to run away from this place. The boy had a branch in his hand. He threw it in front of the girl, and pulls the girl backwards. The next moment the boy points to the trunk above and starts his show. The girl believed the boy, and thanked him profusely. The girl felt that the boy had saved her life. The boy keeps calming the girl down. In the end, the girl became the boy's girlfriend. Look, this guy was fooling everyone by claiming that this was a magical tap floating in midair. People checked it from every angle, and even they were convinced it was floating with some kind of magic. To make it more believable, the guy even touched the running water to prove it was real. But here comes the twist. Soon everyone discovered that there was actually a transparent pipe inside that was holding the tap. This man was eating. The next moment his whole body starts to convulse and he falls to the ground. The wife went to check on the man and grabbed her cell phone to call an ambulance, but the daughter brought a bottle of her father's favorite drink from the kitchen. The man took a sip and was instantly cured. In fact, this is a trick video. The man is not sick. The man wants to test who understands him better, his wife or his daughter. Look, this mom was waiting for her child when, all of a sudden, the door opened up and a train emerged, stopping right in front of her. Everyone was shocked, but when the doors opened, they realized it was bringing kids home from school. Her child stepped out and happily gave his mom a big hug. So give this adorable kid a like too. If you ever visit Japan, never sit in this kind of raft hard by mistake. Just look at this poor man. When his raft hard nears a bridge in the middle of the river, he's the first to jump out and start pulling the boat with all his strength to drag it across the bridge. Meanwhile, the 2 girls sitting in the raft hard refuses to get out, making his job even harder. A warm-hearted girl came to help Grandpa. Grandpa refused because he was afraid the girl would get her hands dirty, but the girl sneaked around the back and pushed the raft hard. Finally, the raft was pushed to the other side. This cat wanted to be a fish and live underwater. She really loved watching her fish friends, almost as if she wanted to be one of them. So her owner decided to build an aquarium. As a gift for her, first she measured the cat's dimensions, and went to a glass factory. They found the right glass pieces, then added 2 holes for the cat to get in and out. After all the glass was glued, the aquarium was almost finished, and once it was filled with water, the cat got so excited, and immediately hopped right in to play in her new aquarium. This boy lost his legs in a car accident. He has low self-esteem. He misses the days when he was able-bodied. A friend tried to make the boy happy. He hid his upper body under the quilt. He lent the boy his legs. The boy was so happy. He finally saw himself with legs again. Look, whenever a farmer grew crops in his field, some kids would come and tear the plastic sheet covering it. One day he catches those kids, and gives them a beating to prevent any poisonous creatures from entering the field. He uses this amazing tape which he sticks over the torn areas, and even tears it apart by pulling slowly. He covers all the damaged spots and applies this chemical, ensuring that nothing will ever get through again. The dog hasn't eaten for 3 days. The woman took out a small dried fish. Although the dog is hungry, it's afraid of biting the woman's hand, so he bites the fish very carefully, because the dog's owner is pregnant. There are many parasites in the dog's body. body if the pregnant woman stays with the dog for a long time. These parasites can affect the growth and development of the fetus and even cause deformities in serious cases. So the owner entrusts the dog to a friend and pays her well. The friend thinks it's a pain in the ass to feed the dog, but she wants to be paid, so she cuts down on the frequency of feeding the dog. She feeds the dog dried fish once every 3 days. The girl is on her knees. She's giving artificial respiration to the cat. The kitten just lost its heartbeat in a car accident. The girl happens to be a nurse. She's trying to save the cat from death. To the cat, the girl is an angel. But the miracle didn't happen. The cat was gone forever.
This is the art of repairing broken utensils in Japan, also known as kinyuchi. In this art, professionals join old broken ceramic or earthen utensils by stitching or sticking them with super glue, then apply a varnish mixed with gold or silver powder on the joints of the repaired areas, which makes the utensil even more beautiful and valuable.
This soldier accidentally dropped his hat in the middle of the show, but he couldn't stop moving because of the strict rules. When the show ended, everyone clapped, but his teammate noticed the hat and moved like a soldier, breaking the rules to get close to the cap and pick it up. He returned it to his partner to put the cap on him properly. After this action, everyone clapped and gave a like to the video because they saw how strong their friendship is. The two girls were playing with an off-road vehicle when they accidentally got stuck in the mud. They cried out loudly for help to the surrounding onlookers, but everyone was afraid of getting stuck in the mud themselves. At that moment, a man bravely stepped forward to rescue the girls. The onlookers were moved by his courage, and more people joined the rescue. In the end, both girls were successfully rescued, and they were both willing to marry the brave man. This dog was born with only 2 legs, so his whole life he struggled to move around like other dogs. But since he never knew what it was like to have 4 legs, he developed a strong core that helped him hop wherever he needed to go. And even though he can't run as fast as the others, that doesn't stop him from being one of the happiest dogs around. This guy with a disability can't go to the bathroom, so this mom buys him a very special bed. But this bed isn't designed just for the bathroom only, cause whenever it's time for a meal, she just pushes a button and it lifts from behind, so he can eat comfortably. Also, washing his feet or cleaning his hair becomes very easy with this bed. Don't you think a mother like this should get a big like? Look, as soon as these people push the sofa, it starts sliding forward. The next second, this girl runs over and sits on the side of the couch, and she kicks the back of the couch as hard as she can, and her husband can get comfortable on the couch too. But the most surprising part is when they turn the sofa into a bed. If you like the sofa too, send a like to the video and subscribe. This puppy had never swum before, but when the boy held him in the lake, when his back paws touched the water, the puppy instinctively began to prepare for the swim with a doggy paddle. The boy hid the ring in the ice cream. He was going to propose to the girl he loved. When the girl came from work, she received the ice cream from the boy without any doubt. But when she fed him the ice cream, an awkward thing happened. The ring got caught in the boy's mouth. The boy could only kiss his girlfriend. The moment the girl saw the ring, her longtime wish finally came true. She was very happy. Give them a like to send your blessings. When the man woke up from his nap, he realized that the truck he was driving was still moving. So in a panic, he hurriedly got up to see who had stolen his truck. But then he was surprised to see there was no driver behind the wheel. And at that moment he realized he was supposed to be the driver, because actually the truck he had just bought had an autopilot feature. In Dubai, if someone finds a natural fountain of crude oil while digging the ground, they turn it into something amazing. First they collect the oil into a bucket like this. Then, taking advantage of the extreme heat, they naturally boil it without any extra cost. After that they seal it with a lid and use a pipe to separate the water into another container. What remains inside the bucket is pure high-value oil. Because mom only bought a toy car for brother alone. The younger brother hated his brother, so he swung his fist and hit his brother. The older brother punched the younger brother back. The younger brother punched the older brother again. The older brother used all his strength to knock the younger brother down. Unconvinced, the younger brother started a second round of revenge. This dog wants cake. He begged the girl with his eyes to give him a bite of cake. The girl felt sorry for the dog, so she cut off half of the cake and fed it to the dog. When the dog had eaten the cake, he secretly moved his position and ate the rest of the cake. This dog fell into a pool of cow manure. The boy searched for him for 3 days and 3 nights and finally found him. In order to get the dog out, the boy had to go into the cow dung. The boy used a stick to dig through the cow dung and finally rescue the dog. But the boy's slippers fell into the dung. The boy had to search for his slippers with his hands. Send a like to the poor boy. The man returned to his village home after 2 years. He found the house densely packed with rats. He was terrified, but he decided to pluck up the courage to clean up the place. When he finished cleaning up the house, he went to the swimming pool. He found some more creatures in the pool, and when he looked closer, there were so many little crocodiles hiding in the pool. Give the poor man a like and encouragement. This boy stole Grandpa's chips, but when Grandpa turned around, he thought the passerby had taken them. Grandpa grabbed the passerby's chips and beat him up. The passerby explained that the chips were his, but the grandfather ignored his explanation. The passerby was afraid that he would be beaten by the grandfather again. He finally gave up his chips. As you can see, this mommy dog came to the toilet with her baby in her mouth. If you think the mom is trying to teach her baby how to use the toilet, you're wrong. The mom is actually trying to flush her baby down the toilet, because the baby dog broke the owner's TV. The mom is very angry. she's teaching the baby a lesson. I'm sure you've never played magnetic chess before. Each player takes 15 pieces. Then they take turns putting them on the board. The first one to put all the pieces on the board wins. In the process of playing chess, you have to control the distance between the pieces. Because of the magnetic force of the pieces, they will easily attract each other, and the pieces that are attracted to each other must be taken back to their own hands. This requires good judgment and patience. It's possible to make a wrong move and lose most of the pieces. Have you ever played this kind of magnetic chess? This guy was just washing his knife after cooking, until he noticed a glitch in the matrix. The knife wouldn't stop spinning, and he had no idea why. He figured the sink might be the problem, so he went to turn it off. But just as he does, the faucet handle snaps off. Now he's stuck. What would you do? This man seems to be playing Squid Game in real life. A group of people challenges him. If he completes the game, he wins a lot of money. But if he loses, he gets into trouble. He accepts the challenge and starts playing. As he moves forward, every glass he steps on shatters within seconds. However, by taking all the risks, he manages to overcome the challenge and win the game. But he only got 2 likes. He was really angry at his kids because they go to the beach every other week. So he finally found a solution and sent them this video of him filling up a bowl with a lot of sand. Then he takes it near the water and starts washing the sand away. He keeps swirling the water slowly, trying not to spill anything. His wife was watching the whole video and thought it was just another prank. But after washing, he shows that there were hundreds of scary sand fleas in the basket. This yellowish layer that looks like a stain is actually a protective varnish, originally designed to preserve the painting's vibrant colors, but over time, it turned into a hidden thread, dulling the pigments, distorting shadows, and accelerating cracks across. The canvas restorers must carefully remove it to uncover the true essence of the artwork that's been buried for decades. If you have hypophobia, then never go on such bridges. In China, these bridges are popular for adventure, known as sky bridges, which are quite challenging to cross because each step requires a lot of attention. It's a thrilling experience but also scary. Even a small mistake could lead to an accident. But there's no need to worry too much, as your safety is fully taken care of. If you don't want to try this, subscribe. Place the red-hot iron ball on the aloe vera gel. When the aloe vera gel comes into contact with the iron ball, the heat of the iron ball heats up the aloe vera gel, causing it to make the same sound as your friend's diarrhea. Then you put the red-hot iron ball in the mustard. When the mustard comes into contact with the iron ball, the heat from the iron ball heats up the mustard. The mustard erupts like a volcano. The mustard splatters all over the table. Does this scene look like your friend's diarrhea erupting? Place the red-hot iron ball on the aloe vera gel. When the aloe vera gel comes into contact with the iron ball, the heat of the iron ball heats up the aloe vera gel, causing it to make the same sound as your friend's diarrhea. Then you put the red-hot iron ball in the mustard. When the mustard comes into contact with the iron ball, the heat from the iron ball heats up the mustard. The mustard erupts like a volcano. The mustard splatters all over the table. Does this scene look like your friend's diarrhea erupting? This is unbelievable. This woman found this shark when it was still little. She tamed and kept it for years, raising it like a pet. This shark grew bigger and bigger over the years, and it seemed like a normal shark. But you'll be surprised when I tell you the truth. Women and sharks are actually generated by AI. When this dad tries to cut a bottle with a knife, it just won't work. So he tells his son, make this knife so sharp that it slices the bottle in one go. Hearing this, the boy gets to work immediately. After half an hour of non-stop effort, he shows his father the knife cutting through paper like butter. Then comes the real test of the bottle. And just like magic, it slices smoothly just like butter. Did you know that people in China are making a lot of money from empty glass bottles? While we throw them in the trash. But these people heat an iron ring in a fire, and place it directly on the bottle. And as soon as they pour cold water, the upper part of the bottle breaks off and separates. It becomes a cup, which is then beautifully hand-painted, and a vase is ready that sells for a good price in the market. This is the hottest street challenge in Japan. If the challenger can stay on this bowl for 1 minute, he will receive $10,000. At first, everyone thought the girl would easily win the challenge. But after 30 seconds, something unexpected happened to the girl. The girl's wig was thrown off. Everyone around her started to laugh at her. The girl felt very embarrassed, so she gave up the challenge. This is the hottest street challenge in Japan. If the challenger can stay on this bowl for 1 minute, he will receive $10,000. At first, everyone thought the girl would easily win the challenge. But after 30 seconds, something unexpected happened to the girl. The girl's wig was thrown off. Everyone around her started to laugh at her. The girl felt very embarrassed, so she gave up the challenge. This girl is preparing a funeral day for all of the dead insects behind her lamp. She placed each one into its own coffin and placed them next to each other in the presence of all their family members and friends. Then each family said goodbye to their lost member and even brought flowers with them. After that, all of them were buried next to each other. If this touched your heart, subscribe.
After her kids got bored of having to eat eggs every day, this mom decided to surprise them with something new. She put an egg inside this device and rotated it multiple times, so the yolk and the white could mix together on the outside. The egg may look normal, but after heating it when she peels the shell, we can see it's completely yellow as if it's magic.
Did you know that if a factory dips a wine bottle too much it automatically becomes very expensive? Its price skyrockets to 50 times its original value, just because it has more red wax on it, making it extremely rare. And even though the worker doesn't do it on purpose, her mistake generates millions per year for the factory. This wife hates her husband so much, so she decided to turn everything in his car into her beating him, because when she closed the door, it smacked him on the face, and when she rolled the window she fell on top of him, and even when she turned on the windshield wipers, it turned into her beating him up, and she will beat everyone who doesn't leave a like. Every time the man comes back home, she opens the door for him, but for some reason, he always leaves through a different one. The next day, the same thing happens. She opens the same door again, and once more he slips out through another exit. But on the fourth day, the girl decided to outsmart him and started opening all the doors one by one, yet somehow he still left through the trunk. This girl from China has no legs, but she still works hard every day. She doesn't have a house, so she lives in her car, and right when she wakes up she starts cleaning it. Then she uses a small kitchen in the back to make her meals. She also dances really well, but since she has no legs people just scroll past and never leave a like. This cat wanted to go into his master's arms. As it walked towards its master, the owner opened his legs. The cat fell. The master mocked his cat mercilessly. The cat decided to try again. He walked towards his master again, and when both of his legs were on the master's legs, the master opened his legs again. This time the cat held on. The owner gave the cat a kiss. So give this smart cat a like too.
This girl is becoming a millionaire by saving thousands of dollars of other people, because this girl has made a machine, which can save your gas bill to a great extent. You can keep any utensil on this homemade gas, and cook your food comfortably. And this homemade gas is also quite cheap, which will be available within your budget. But she just wants a sweet comment from us.
As soon as this girl finished eating and lay down on her bed to sleep, she suddenly remembered that she forgot to turn off the room light, but she was so lazy that she didn't want to get up again. So, she got an idea. She picked up a laser pointer and aimed the laser light at the switch, showing it to her cats. The moment the cats saw the light, she jumped to catch it, but her paw hit the switch button and the light got turned off. The girl wanted to ride her bike and take her parents on a trip, but after her dad sat on the bike, there was no seat left for her mom. So, the girl came up with an idea. She had her dad sit on the bike facing backward, then quickly brought 2 wheels and a stool. She placed the stool on the wheels, and just like that, her mom had a seat too. After making sure everything was fine, the girl happily took her parents on a trip. When these workers accidentally chipped a corner of an expensive marble step, they thought they were already in huge debt, but decided not to say anything to the customer, and try to restore the expensive material themselves. So, they glue all the surviving parts of the stone and then apply plaster and polish to perfection. Give these geniuses a like for their cunning. This man put 6 swimming laps on his body. The man wanted to learn to swim, but he grew up afraid of the water. So the man came up with this method. When he was done warming up, the man jumped into the water. He floated easily on the water's surface. The man could not only backstroke, he can also breaststroke. Give a like to this witty man too. This boy wanted to compete with 2 cats for a snack. When the race began, the boy wanted to be the first, so he tried very hard to eat his snack. When the boy finished his snack, he was happy to celebrate his win, but he noticed that neither of the 2 kittens ate their snacks. They were watching him. This man challenged to make $10,000 in 7 days sifting sand for gold on the beach with a homemade tool. On his first day, the man got lucky. He got the latest Apple smartwatch. On the second day, all he got was a set of keys. The man was not discouraged, because he still had 5 days to go. On the third day, the man sifted through a lot of gold rings and coins. The man was very happy. On the fourth day, the man was lucky enough to pick up 2 gold rings and a pair of silver scissors. Do you think the man will succeed in the challenge? This is the world's most powerful magnet, neodymium. It's so strong that once it sticks to anything made of iron, it's nearly impossible to pull it off by hand. And when people drop it into water, despite its small size, it can pull up to 10 kilograms of iron. Some even use it in rivers to search for lost items like money phones and sometimes even old treasure. When this man brings home a new machine to clean the house, and as soon as he turns it on, the machine starts spreading dirt everywhere instead of cleaning. So he thinks the shopkeeper must have sold him a faulty machine, but after a while he realizes that the machine is actually gathering all the dirt in one place, and then slowly it begins to make the whole house shine. When it's time for the kids to leave school, the teachers decide to play a fun game with the parents. They dress all the children in the same costume, making them look nearly identical. When the parents arrive to pick up their kids, they have to find them without any help. Some rely on their parent instinct, while others try to guess based on their child's size. But it's not easy, since all the kids are roughly the same size. This guy creates amazing street art using chalk. All of his friends and neighbors get amazed after looking at his art. Today he decided to play a prank on his sister, because his sister always annoys him and makes him angry. So he decided to take revenge on his sister. He drew a pond in the house. When his sister came home from work, she saw the pond. She was so scared that she hugged the pillar. When this Amazon driver was delivering a package, she accidentally tripped and fell in front of a camera. But the homeowner saw the entire thing. The Amazon driver was in a lot of pain, but he's still dedicated enough to tell the homeowner to come get the delivery. But no one likes this video. This baby had several hydrogen balloons attached to it. The next moment, the baby is taken up into the air by the balloons. It's the baby's first time off the ground. He's still suffering from altitude sickness. Some people may worry about the baby's safety. In fact, don't be afraid. The baby was not carried into the air by a hydrogen balloon. Behind the baby is his father's hand. It's the father who lifted the baby up in the air. So when the baby is not in danger, the biggest danger is the father. This backhoe is out of control. The driver tried to get into the cockpit to turn off the backhoe, but he ran around the excavator without finding a chance. The driver was very upset. If his boss found out about this, he would not only be fined, but he could even be fired. He tried again. As soon as he touched the cockpit door, out of instinctive fear, he ran out again. Finally, a passing grandfather seized the opportunity to run into the cockpit and shut down the excavator. So give this brave grandpa a like too. Even if you did your best, you would never sink in these waters because this is the Dead Sea, a place where nature has added so much salt that the water has become extremely salty and dense. This increases buoyant force, so even if someone tried to sink on purpose, they wouldn't be able to, as they would simply float like a cork on the water. But you still haven't liked when these two dogs fought over the meat. Look what the partial owner did. Instead of dividing the meat equally, he gave the smaller portion to the black dog. This frustrated the black dog. So the next day, when the owner offered the owner to give him food, white dog food, he refused and then put his paw on the black dog, signaling the owner to give him food. Even this happened more than once, but despite this, the white dog only got 5 likes. These sisters wanted to get their hair colored, but the hairdresser started making what looked like ice cream on their heads. The little sister got extremely angry, and was about to call their dad, while the older sister was confused, thinking they might have entered the wrong salon. Both of them were planning to leave, because they didn't want their hair to get damaged. But in reality this was just a new method of hair coloring that perfectly covered every strand of their hair. Have you ever wondered how people get to the top of this thing? Nobody online seems to understand how humans can climb to the top, because there are no visible stairs at all. Some folks on the internet think that the people we see climbing are not real humans, because it seems impossible. Some believe they're aliens, while others think they're AI robots hidden by the government. But that's all fake news. After hours of research I found out the truth. Would you like to visit this place? This girl takes out a chicken leg and puts it in front of her husband and tells him to get down. And then the husband gets a big chicken leg. So when the girl told her dog to get down, the dog did the same. He got a chicken leg too, but the dog realized that the leg he got was too small. He thought it wasn't fair, so he got mad. He wanted a big one too. The girl called her friends to celebrate her puppy's birthday. While they were singing the birthday song together, you'll never guess what happened. This puppy is trying to sing along with their birthday song. This grandmother was going home, but a Labrador suddenly rushed towards her and tore into her cart. The grandmother is very weak, and the cart was almost tipped over by the Labrador. But when I tell you the truth, you'll cry. This Labrador is Grandma's dog. In fact, he loved Grandma very much, so he did his best to help her get the goods. So please give this kind dogs a like too. This duck doll was running and didn't see the stone pier in front of him. He accidentally fell down. The bear doll behind him tried to help the duck doll up, but he's too fat. He couldn't get over the stone pier. The bear doll had to go over the stone pier. When the bear doll fell, he couldn't get up either. Finally, with the help of the boy's family, the bear doll and the duck doll got up. 3 boys are good friends. They're having a potluck, but one boy didn't have a stool. He took the stool of his classmate who was standing. When the other boy saw it, he was afraid that his classmate would fall. He gave his stool to the other boy, but when the boy sat down, he was too heavy. He crushed the stool. When the woman goes to hang the clothes to dry, the wind makes them fall. So her brother goes to the market and buys her an incredible tool to solve the problem. When she sees it, she excitedly hangs the clothes on it. But the most surprising thing is that despite the wind, the clothes don't fall. When everyone realizes this, they start liking the video. This girl is unstoppable. She's a parkour expert who challenges police officers to catch her, betting $100 that she'll get away. As you can see, she effortlessly leaps from one spot to another, outsmarting the officers with her quick thinking. Even when the entire team shows up to catch her, she still manages to evade them. It seems like she's about to get caught this time, but nope, she escapes again. That's why you should give her a like. This security guard accidentally knocked the girl's bag off. The girl was very angry. She asked the security guard to pay for the damages and help her to get her bag back. The guard had no money on him, so he had to give the girl his cell phone. When the guard got the bag, he realized he couldn't climb up. The girl said she could give him the bag first and then she would go to the police for help. The guard believed the girl, but when the girl got the bag, she ran away. This lady's hair kept getting in this girl's way while she was on an airplane. She kept moving it out of the way over and over, but the lady kept putting it back. So that's when this girl had a bright idea. She grabs a pair of scissors that she was hiding, and what happens next is shocking. She starts cutting off chunks of this lady's hair, but that's not even the worst part. After cutting off her hair, she decides to do something even worse. She starts putting things like paint and glue in this lady's hair. She still has no idea what's going on. After ruining this lady's hair, she realizes what happens to her hair. Luckily, she's wearing a wig. The girl is fighting with the dog for the bed. She has been suffering from insomnia for many days. She sees the dog lie down on the mat every day and fall asleep instantly. So she wants to try and see if she can sleep on the dog's mat, but the dog never allows it. Whenever the girl lies on the mat, the dog forcefully pulls her away. This girl is roasting in front of a fire, but when you look closely at the girl's hand, her fingers become transparent in front of the fire. I'll tell you how it works. If you agree with me, you can subscribe. If you don't agree with me, click like. Because the air at the bottom expands and floats up by heat, causing the upper air to be unevenly dense. So the bottom of the light refraction, bypassing the blockage into the human eye to form the phenomenon of transparency. This man had just left the house. He got scared by the pedals in front of the door. After his emotions had eased, he looked around cautiously. He realized there was no other way out. He can only jump towards the tread. The man stood on the tread. His legs were trembling. He didn't dare to jump any further. He could only move forward trembling. He was afraid that the rope would break if he stepped too hard. In fact, this is a 3D drawing by a man. Have you been fooled by him? This white cat begged her owner to dye her purple just because she didn't want to be bullied anymore. Turns out she was always picked on by the other cats at home. Nobody liked her because in their eyes, white cats were the ugliest. Her owner gave her an iPad so she could watch cat cartoons alone. But something unexpected happened. The white cat became obsessed with a purple cartoon cat because that cat was loved by everyone in the show. So the white cat got an idea. She snuck into the kitchen and grabbed a dragon fruit, tried to dye herself purple too. The owner felt heartbroken because she knew the cat just wanted to feel accepted. So the owner bought a bunch of dragon fruits, mashed them up into juice, and used a toothbrush to gently apply it. The cat sat there the whole time, waiting for her new look. After drying her fur, she looked stunning, and she was so proud of herself. Let's see how the other cats reacted. They were all over her. Now everyone wants to groom her. The girl tried to shake hands with the statue, but the next moment the statue starts to tilt and is about to collapse. The girl panicked. She holds on to the statue. The girl tries with all her might to keep the statue balanced, but it doesn't work. In fact, the statue was a real person in disguise. The girl was shocked to see the statue move. The statue greeted the girl enthusiastically. It was only then that the girl was able to recover. It must have been an unforgettable experience for the girl. This man was trying to seal a bottle with wax, when something unexpected happened as soon as his hand touched the wax. He panicked and accidentally dropped the entire bottle into the wax pot. Now he had to figure out how to get it out. First he grabbed a pair of tongs to retrieve the bottle, but things got even worse when he dropped the tongs into the wax. As well, finally he used a wooden stick, and after a tough struggle, he managed to pull out both the tongs and bottle. Now the bottle was completely covered in wax. Do you know what this wax is used for? You can't drive on this road for more than 3 hours even if you want to, and if you make that mistake, you'll get stuck in the water with your vehicle. Actually, this road is called Passage Duo, and it's located in France. This road is visible only for 3 hours a day, which attracts a lot of tourists. Once the time is up, tides start rising, and the road gets submerged underwater up to a height of 13 feet. After watching this video, all the people got terrified of doing bungee jumping, because the moment the girl's husband lets go of her legs for doing the jump, the belt suddenly breaks, causing her to drop her falls from a helicopter that is flying over 5,000 m high. But her safety parachute opens and saves her. You might be surprised, but this red button on the wall is actually meant to make the traffic light turn green, so you can safely cross between the buildings without bumping into someone. The person who invented this tool is really a genius. You just stick it to an object, and it gets the exact shape of the outside. It's called a shape taker. When you check an object, some parts go in and some parts come out. You don't need any measuring. It can even handle funny shapes, compared to old tools. This one saves time and is more accurate. So, as soon as this guy lifts this metal plate, there is a deep tunnel inside it, and when he presses this button on his remote, a cart comes below. So he sits on it, which takes him to a secret vault, and when he rotates its wheel, he finds out that there is a complete underground bunker with lots of flags. So he decides to move further where he parks his cart, and as soon as he opened this door, there was a long staircase which led him to the ground. This guy found a turtle shell and decided to open it, and you won't believe what he found inside. First, he cracked the shell using a pickaxe while holding it firmly. After just a few more taps, he finally saw what's inside the turtle shell, and what he discovered is something unbelievable. You would probably expect something like a straw or intestines, but you'll never guess what. I will let you see what he found, but before I show you, make sure to like and subscribe within 3 seconds and you will receive good news tomorrow. 3, 2, 1. Now, here's what he discovered inside the shell. Why do the Japanese punch holes in freshly paved concrete roads? It looks like they're damaging the surface, but this is actually a design that lets the road breathe. First, workers lay plastic panels across the ground, each with 18 cone-shaped caps. Then they add a steel mesh on top and pour the concrete. After it hardens, they track down every cap and smash them open with hammers. Next, they grind the holes wider and fill them with gravel or plants. When it rains, water drains straight through into the ground. No standing water, no runoff. Even trucks weighing several tons can drive over without cracking it. This kitten was just neutered. You might think he's sad and leaving tears in his eyes. Well, that's not true. cats are given anesthesia before surgery. But when cats are under anesthesia, they won't close their eyes like humans do. This can lead to dry eyeballs and in severe cases, dry eye syndrome. In order to protect the moisture of the cornea of the cat's eye, some saline drops will be put in their eyeballs. An important belonging of this girl falls under the vending machine, and she starts to panic. At that moment a smart cleaning robot comes vacuum everything on its way. The girl is terrified that the robot would think her things are trash and swallow them up. But when the robot goes under the vending machine to clean it, pushes out her 2 gold bars from there and leaves them in front of her. Let's give this smart thing a like. Look at this girl. Her dad tied her up on a frozen lake, because people call her the Ice Queen. She can swim for hours in freezing water, and she wanted to test her skills. But then something unexpected happened. She got stuck under the ice. Everyone was shocked at what she did next. She stayed calm, found her way out and broke through the ice. But after everything only 2 people liked her video. Have you seen how strict Chinese art schools are? If a teacher hits a student's drawing board with a stick, the students would have to destroy their paintings. The students would be very frustrated, because their work doesn't meet the teacher's passing standards. When the teacher saw this amazing painting, his reaction shocked everyone. The teacher was on the verge of cracking the student's drawing board, because the student's drawing was so bad, so the student had to destroy it. Every year, 10 million art students graduate in China, so teachers have to hold them to strict standards. When their teacher turned around for a second, one student went crazy and started dancing in the middle of class, but when the others noticed, they joined in. And the teacher's reaction in the end was too funny. This brand put the shoe in a water tank to show that it's waterproof, but the situation is not what you'd expect. Keeping the shoe underwater for a long time would ruin it, yet this shoe stands there for days, and still holds its shape. It's actually all an optical illusion. When the man looked from the top, he realized the boots weren't even touching the water at all. He's opening and closing this gate to separate the adult sheep from the lambs. Sheep are highly vulnerable to parasites, so farmers treat them with a spray that greatly improves their quality of life. They separate the two because adults need much more spray, and accidentally using that amount on a lamb could be harmful or even toxic. This girl was standing on one foot on a mineral water bottle. The next moment her husband takes the bottle away. The girl can still stand firmly in midair. When I'll tell you the truth, you'll be surprised. In fact, when the girl's husband took away the bottle, another friend of hers in green screen put a stool under the girl's feet. The stool was eliminated from the video at a later stage. This girl found out there was a secret door hidden behind her kitchen counter. She opened the counter and built up the courage to unlock the mysterious door. But before that, she called all her friends just in case something went wrong. Then she quickly pushed the door open with her finger and instantly backed away. They found out that there was a very sketchy staircase going down in the darkness, so she immediately closed the door, locked it, and called the police. This woman is incredible. She's got an elaborate flying airplane for her kids, watching her throw it up in the air to test it, hoping it would make a perfect circle and come back to her. And guess what? The plane flew perfectly back to her, ready for the kids to have endless fun. Send a like to this smart woman. When this barber noticed a loose thread sticking out of the apron he put on his client, he decided to cut it off because it was getting in the way. But the thread seemed endlessly long, and he couldn't stop cutting it, so he continued with the haircut. But when he finally took off the apron, he realized what the real problem was. This woman's Apple 16 accidentally fell out the window. She had a brilliant idea. She was going to fish the phone out with a dustpan. The girl held her breath, because if she's not careful, her cell phone will fall down. Finally, the girl managed to get the phone into the dustpan, but when she was about to lift it up, the pole connected to the dustpan broke. Suddenly a skeleton fell. When the girl saw the skeleton, she was shocked. The girl fainted. The boyfriend was concentrating on cracking the code of the secret room. He didn't know what happened. When he saw the skeleton and his girlfriend on the floor, the boy asked the store manager to pause. The store manager came to check on the girl's condition. The store manager just shook the girl awake. When the girl saw the store manager's face, she fainted again. The store manager was wearing a scary mask. Why did the boy put a dead duck in the net, even though the duck smelled bad enough? Because his grandfather said it would catch a lot of fish. Everyone laughed at Grandpa. They thought his method wouldn't work, but Grandpa ignored their ridicule. Grandpa put the net in the water, and when the next day came, everyone was shocked. The net was full of fish, so give this smart grandpa a like too. This guy found a 50-year-old tape of his grandfather, so he placed it under a white light, and took a picture of it with his phone, and then he edited the picture, in hopes of at least seeing his grandfather once, even though everyone told him it wouldn't work, but he was determined to try, and after 5 minutes of hard work, he finally restored the picture, which is why everyone liked him. Look, when this guy sees the statue of a girl inside a giant ball, he goes near it and takes her out from the ball, after which he starts to touch her as she was looking like a real human. But not only that, he also breaks the ball in her hand, in which he finds her childhood picture, and when he starts her machine after inserting some money, she starts to move round and round, which is why everyone liked her. Look, in China, there are these guys who clean windows using a magnetic device, for which they just have to apply soap to one part, and place it outside the window, while the other part is inside the window, and this allows them to clean areas of the window that are difficult to reach, but they just want a like from you. This man is going to do the impossible. He drove his car into a puddle, but he didn't want to get his shoes wet because the man is a fan of Jackie Chan, so he studied martial arts since he was a child. He decided to use his hands to cross the puddle, but it's clear that he's still protecting something. After the man crossed the puddle, he pulled out a puppy from his jacket. Kudos to the man for doing that. If you ever see a landslide on the road, don't make the same reckless mistake this man did upon noticing the collapse. He couldn't resist and stopped his motorcycle right at the edge to take a look as night was about to fall and the lack of visibility would make the road even more dangerous. He decided to take action. He used a few nearby sticks, placed them strategically, and secured them with tape to create a warning barrier. Despite his efforts, no one gave the video a like. This girl earned $1 million in just 1 week. She did this by splashing water on passers-by walking past her shop. After attracting their attention, she quickly locked the shop door. The passers-by could only shout at her through the window to vent their anger. The next second, she took out her phone and started a live stream. She created the illusion that her shop was very popular, attracting many people to buy her skateboarding lessons. This cigarette tin is about 100 years old. In the last century, cigarettes were stored in tin cans to keep the tobacco fresh for as long as possible. To do this, air was pumped out of the cans, creating a vacuum. The cans were equipped with latches for the convenience of smokers, but mainly such cans were intended for sailors. They could hold 50 cigarettes or several ounces of tobacco. The girl broke off a piece of bread and offered it to the golden retriever. But the golden retriever wants the girl to feed his brother first. The girl thought the golden retriever was caring for his brother. In fact, the golden retriever thinks the bread she feeds him is too small. So the golden retriever went straight for the big bread in the girl's hand. The girl snatched part of the bread from the dog's mouth. But when the girl was about to feed the bread to the golden retriever's brother, the golden retriever snatched the bread back from the girl's hand and ate it quickly. If you try this boat in Japan, be careful. This boat is very popular in Japan, known as Janagawa River rafting. If you ride on this, you will get scared, because when approaching numerous bridges, you'll need to lower your head to avoid hitting it. But the boat owner doesn't get scared at all, as it seemed like he might miss the boat this time. But he is a master of this. Look, he did incredible jump. Let's give him 1 like. This girl can't walk, but she loves driving cars, so she has this special car built for her. As soon as she gets near the car, she grabs a remote and presses a button, and the back door fully opens. This car is made special, so people in wheelchairs can use it easily. When she goes inside with her wheelchair, the door closes on its own. She starts the car and drives away all by herself, but no one likes her videos. Look, these students made their teacher sit on the floor. Then they stretched a big colorful cloth around her, and started spinning in circles. As they turned, the sheet stuck to her and they keep spinning. And when the students pull the cloth back, the teacher also starts spinning. She looked so happy that everyone watching gave them a like. Look, the boy puts the candy in the machine. The marshmallow starts to float out of the machine. The boy tries to spin the candy onto the stick, but the rolled up marshmallow was very ineffective. Then the other boy tried too, but his marshmallow looked like a mess too. Finally, it was a girl's turn. The girl looked like she was struggling too. The first boy decided to try again. He carefully shaped the marshmallow into a ball. Then he made smaller balls and piled them on top. And finally, he made a cute rabbit out of marshmallows. So give this sweet cotton candy artist a like too.
This girl walks up to a customer and starts pouring reed syrup onto his plate. He gets really confused, and when he looks closely, the dessert he ordered starts vanishing right in front of his eyes. But actually, this is a very famous dessert in many countries, where they trick the customer by pouring red syrup over cotton candy, which makes it disappear. And in the end, you'll see that the real dessert was a buttery marshmallow hidden underneath.
In Latin America, when cooked rice gets old, it is usually given to animals or thrown away. However, in Japan, that same rice is reused in a surprising way. It is placed in a pan and cooked until it turns into a crispy biscuit. That turns out to be delicious. In this way, the rice is not wasted and is transformed into a tasty snack. This guy forgot his phone's pattern password, so every day he only tries 5 times to avoid getting permanently locked out. But the real problem is that this lock has about 125,000 possible combinations. If he keeps trying just 5 times a day, it will take him 25,000 days. That's almost 70 years. So to motivate him, let's give him a like. This is how people in China ride on water. This water bicycle doesn't need pedaling. Instead, you have to bounce again and again like a human pogo stick across the lake. But not everyone nails it. The woman rode to the middle of the lake. She relaxed amid the shouts of the crowd on the shore. Finally, she fell into the lake. To find out how big an umbrella would be needed to stop this man from falling, he first jumped down with the smallest umbrella, but he fell. So tried with a slightly bigger umbrella, but still fell. And even when he used a larger one, it couldn't save him. In fact, not even a huge umbrella could prevent his fall. So finally he brought the biggest umbrella. But people were shocked to see that even that couldn't stop him from falling. Our teachers always told us don't stick to the book. Use your imagination, but I don't think they meant this. This man thought he completed the final product once he placed the last Lego piece, but according to the assembly book, the result turned out to be a bit different. Have you ever wondered how mermaid breathe underwater? Like, what is secret behind this? But before, like and subscribe. Many people think that mermaids are using some device to breathe, but that's not true. Most professional mermaids use various breathing techniques that allow them to hold their breath for long periods, reducing their need for oxygen. When necessary, they simply come to the surface. This boy has been playing games on his cell phone while dating his girlfriend. His girlfriend hates this habit. She called her friend to play a trick on him. The friend asked the girl to let go of her boyfriend's hand. The girl's friend puts her hand out. The boy realized it wasn't his girlfriend's hand. He was shocked when he turned his head to the side. Hopefully, the boy can learn from this experience and pay more attention on his future dates with his girlfriend. This is the most epic race ever because this man wanted to prove to these kids that the story of the race between the fast rabbit and the slow turtle was real. So he bought a turtle and bet $1,000 with his friend that his turtle would win. When the race started, everyone was excited and laughing, thinking the man was crazy. But during the race, something unexpected happened. Even though the other guy spanked his rabbit to make it go faster, the rabbit got stuck while the turtle kept going slow and steady. In the end, just like in the story, the turtle won the race. Did you guess that? This girl made a huge mistake when her friend asked her for drink, because she went to the very edge of the boat to throw it to her. But when she threw the bottle, she lost balance and fell into the water. But what's even crazier is that when her friend tried to get back onto the boat, she accidentally lost the leash. When she wished for a dog cake on her birthday, she was a bit confused why the sparkler was in such a strange spot. But once she lit it, she finally understood why the dog was standing like that. A stream of light brown chocolate sauce started pouring out, looking like the dog was doing his business. And the longer it went on, the more realistic it started to. This boy was going to ride his motorcycle home, but a girl put a hose under his wheel. The boy got off his bike to check. He found the girl hiding under the bridge. He was about to go down the bridge to chase the girl, but the girl went around to the other side of the bridge. She took the boy's motorcycle. This girl is too fat, so she desperately shook the hula hoop to lose weight. The girl's husband saw her and suddenly had an idea. He grabbed the girl's hula hoop, but the girl didn't realize it. She was still shaking it as hard as she could. When the girl heard her husband laughing, she realized what was happening. This man drives off his house every day, and his mom is worried cause the road is very tight. But he did it a million times, so he managed to get on track. He was about to hit the utility pole, but he turned the wheel, and went straight to a wall. Last second he turned the wheel again, and drove right next to a cliff. The road was so tight that when he finally went down he took a turn on the edge of the cliff, and he managed to go to work. This girl just broke up with her boyfriend. She's very sad, so she came to the hairdressers to get a new haircut to change her mood. The barber took away the mirror on purpose. He said he wanted to give the girl a surprise. The girl was looking forward to her new hairstyle. In the end, the barber gave her a rhinoceros. The girl thought the barber had a good sense of humor, so every time the girl was unhappy, she came to the barber to get her hair done. Eventually she fell in love with the barber. This girl hates to pull out her card every time she pays, so she destroyed the whole card and leaves just the chip. So she puts the credit card chip into her nail. After she polished the nail and the chip is holding tight inside, she goes to the shop and tries it out. So she scans the barcode, and when she puts her nail next to the card reader, her bill gets printed. But would you do this? This guy found a watermelon stand, but these weren't just any melons. He pulls one out of an ice tub, pokes a hole in it, and takes out a frozen watermelon stick like an ice cream. But instead of tossing it, he sets it aside to use later. Then he blends up the melon, adds ice, and drops in straws and a spoon. To finish it off, he puts the frozen stick back on top. Would you try this?
When this $8,000 table couldn't be fixed, they wanted to throw it away. But this guy is the only one who decided to take a chance and try to fix it with his own hands. But initially, it may seem to you that this master makes everything worse when he makes a lot of holes in this monolithic tabletop. But everything is not so simple, because further he removes the extra wood and inserts a patch into the table which he himself previously milled. But the most important part of the repair will be further, because now he needs to hide this huge crack. So he pours it abundantly with glue, and then poured into the crack a lot of sawdust and wood chips, and then carefully polish everything and level the table to perfection. But the really difficult part of the work ahead, because now he has to perfectly hide the place of repair by painting. Give the cool craftsman a like for a perfect restoration.